slipping. The clutch is slipping on this. Okay, so let's go over the last project I need to do for the ZG. When I took it for its shakedown ride after the engine install, I noticed the clutch was slipping. Even though it's a 25,000 mile clutch or a 25,000 mile engine, I found it kind of bizarre. After doing some research and the way the bike was exhibiting the bump in the clutch handle that I was feeling for feedback when I would downshift, I realized that it was a common problem with the bike, and it's the star springs. So Murph's Kits, I'm not affiliated with Murph's Kits in any way, but I do buy a lot of my stuff for them, for the Concours, for the C10 anyway. They have a complete kit to replace the star springs. Basically what it does is it comes with this one bolt, and if you look at this bolt, it's got some, well, you probably can't see it, but it's not perfectly round. This bolt's made to go on once. Once you remove it, you have to replace it. The engine that's in there is a 1986. It's my understanding from what I read and saw that in 1986 they had a single washer. The recommendation is to upgrade to a dual washer, which I'm going to do. And part of the kit, and it's a selection, they'll give you some thread locker and they give you some ultra black. This is a steel gasket. So that's everything you need to replace the washers. So even though the clutch was slipping, what I understand is these things will break off at these little ears. So at these little ears here, they break off. They wound up getting lodged in between all these clutch plates that are there, and they can score them up. So, you know, I'm not going to go in there and replace this stuff if some of this stuff got damaged. So the clutch discs, the friction plates, you got to take them out to do the job, so you might as well replace them. So Murph's Kits carries a Kevlar system. It's a slight upgrade from OEM, so I opted to buy those. They also come with the springs and whatever washer is in there with them. I don't know, I haven't even opened the bag yet. So with that said, we're going to get started. Now the bike has been prepped. I've removed the belly pan, and I've removed one side cover, and I've removed this lower plastic shroud. So basically what that is, that should be all I need to dismantle as far as the bike. The oil's drained. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go ahead and get started pulling that cover off. And this will be the last project of this bike, and then this bike is ready for the summer. All right, let's get started. All right. Okay, so 3 different sizes. You get the smaller sizes, which start here and go around. Then you get the 2 big ones, which are obvious. They go here. That's the longest run. And then you got this size, which basically takes around the front of the case, stops there, goes back to the small one. So that's pretty much just 3 different sizes on that. So there you go. So the screws are out. I'm assuming I can take it out and go this way with it. So with that being said, I gotta get some couple of pry tools, maybe a rubber mallet. Couple of love taps with the rubber mallet. And here we go. So we're gonna go ahead and try to see if I can't scooch that past the brake lever. And I can. That's a good deal. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. So all up in here is what has to be manipulated. You get some hex. And here are all your pressure plates, friction plates. If you notice, the very lead one is offset. So you have boom, 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 boom. And then when it gets to the last one, it's over one and in. There you go. This is, I believe, the alternator. All of that looks really good. I'm going to clean up the gasket material. Even before I take it apart, I'm going to clean up the gasket material. And then we'll start taking this all apart. See what that entails. Good. That's done. That took an hour. The gasket that's going in here is going to be a metal gasket. The gasket that was on here, which I'm going to assume was, you know, a factory OEM Kawasaki gasket, was a fiber gasket or fabric gasket. And wow, it was part of the bike. One thing I want to show you right here, right there is a hole. And if you notice, there's an oil banjo that goes in here. That actually passes through the cover. And right here, right there is the hole on the other side. Comes up a channel here, and here's some oiling that gets done. There's a little hole over here that lubes this chain. And there's a hole up here that kind of lubes the whole upper mechanism, the whole chain. It looks like it probably would spray out that hole there. Because I got the metal gasket, I'm going to need to put some gasket cement on it, the black stuff that they included in the kit. I got to be very cognizant of that hole, that when I put the stuff on, I don't goop it and block it. Because if I block it, nothing up here is going to get oiled. Okay? Nothing up here will get oiled, and I will have a failure, I'm going to assume, pretty quick. I'm going to remove these screws. You back them out a little at a time. Wow, all right. As you can see here, we got broken pieces in there. There's 3 tabs still alive there. There's 2 broken off. And when you look at this, there's a total of 6. So there's 1 missing. There's 1 busted off tab missing. And it ain't here. And it ain't there. If you look on the inside here, you can see all the little gitches and gouges that thing was making. So I'm missing a tab. Did it fall and I didn't see it? The answer to that is no. So it may be up in here somewhere. So let's go ahead and take a, let's go through this and find out. There's a piece of broken metal in here somewhere. I don't see it up the bottom. I'm going to take these out one at a time and examine them. I heard that somehow that they get themselves wrapped up in here. If that's the case, then that probably will be a good thing. That looks good. So we're going to go ahead and just put that like that. And we'll start removing this stuff. So we just return it and do it like that. This thing's going to go in exactly the way it came out. That looks good. So it's definitely a slipper clutch. So nothing got on the disc. So that third ear has broken off, somehow found its way out of here. That's not good. It's the only thing I can think of that it fell into the crank. I don't know how it came out, because if these two are in there, how did that third one come out? I don't know. That's a bummer. I don't know how often, when it happened, or how long ago it happened. Did it just get ground up and frickin'... These don't look too chewed up, but there's some stuff going on inside the pressure plate. So, maybe it got chewed up. Whatever. Not much you can do about it now. It's in the sump. It's in the sump. Okay, so 36 millimeter. I don't know what the torque setting is yet. I haven't researched that, but I'm pretty sure I can whack it off with this. Bugger works every time. And that's another one of those bolts with the flat sides. So that can't go back in. I'm just going to pull this out of here. So, I mean, that all looks good. Nothing chewed up there. In the basket. So there's nothing in there. This is gonna go on here. And then we'll put the star springs back in. This is the one-time bolt, or nut. This gets torqued down to 98 foot-pounds. I got the new star springs in there. Actually, I got 2 of them. That's the recommendation. So what I've done is I put the bike in gear, and I'm going to apply the brake to stop this from rotating. Because this is actually turning the wheel. So I just got to make sure that that seat's in there proper. There we go. So I couldn't find a container to basically do a custom built soaking on it, so I took an antifreeze thing and filled it with oil and dropped the new discs in there. It's a little waste, but what are you going to do? So they've been soaking for a while. That's down to 95 foot-pounds. I'm going to take the first one here. I'm going to put it in. Basically just drops in. I'm going to remove the original. and just move it off to the side. We're just gonna work our way in. When I took this out, I basically flipped it like that. So, a little bit of oil. I'll put that on. It is really cold out today. It's in the 20s. It's been the low 20s, probably the teens all day. We're gonna put these bolts in. I'll get back to you on the torque setting. We'll do a clutch grab test, see if the plates separate. If they do, then the possibility we've done it right. Won't know until we get on the road, obviously, but looks to be okay. So I'm going to clean up here. I'm going to put these bolts in, and we'll be done. These here are torqued down to 95 inch-pounds. Okay, so big test. Grab a handful of clutch and see what happens. See if that plate kicks out. Looks good to me. So I'm grabbing a handful of clutch and I'm seeing that thing moving. So that's separate, that's engaged. There you go. I kind of wished I knew where that other piece went. I would have loved to have found it. But it is what it is. When I do the oil filter at home, I doubt it, but other than that, it's either gonna be a problem or not. Maybe I'll stick a magnet on the I might stick a molybdenum magnet on the drain plug. That's what I'm gonna do. Next step now is this has already been cleaned, like I said. I'm just going to scoop out the oil just to dry that off a little bit. That way there I don't have to keep dealing with it getting wet. And then we're going to prep the gasket. Be cognizant of this little oil hole. Put the gasket up in there. And it's thread locker that goes into all these bolts. So we'll put a little thread locker in that and be good. But I want to clean that up, dry that up. Do a nice wipe down to some gum out on a rag, wipe it down all around the whole surfaces, do the same on the cover, and then bolt everything up. So it's best guess. So I'm going to snug them down pretty good, knowing that this thread locker, and knowing that I am going into an aluminum case with steel bolts. Basically what I'm trying to say is, don't go bananas. I'm just snugging them up. It's all buttoned up. I'm not going to put the plastics on it until I know. So here we go. Because I wanted to fill the oil filter a little more, and then I'm going to run it and I'm going to let it sit. I'm going to let it settle. I'm going to check the fluid levels, top it off, and then we should be done. And then we'll give the clutch the old college try and see if it takes care of business. All right. So the next step is going to be to start it up while it's on the center stand, put it in gear, and see if I can engage and disengage the clutch. Put my foot on the rear brake, pull the clutch in, put it in gear. The rear wheel should not move. Let my foot off the clutch, Let my foot off the clutch. Let my hand off the clutch, and the rear wheel should engage, and I should feel it fairly smooth. That'll be step one. Once I know that the wheel can disengage from the motor, I'll take it off the center stand, and I'll try a little bit under load and see how it feels. It's snowing out, so there's not much I can do. It's January 18th. That's the way we roll, but I think this job is done. Let's give it a shot. A little bit of smoking. That's going to be some burn off, so I'm just going to warm the motor up, get it all burnt off, and put it all back together. Yay!